Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Engage Culture podcast. I'm so excited to spend another fantastic evening with you to empower you and give you a word that's going to take you to another level. Today, I want to talk about an incredible gift that we lost last year, an incredible, gifted person who did phenomenal things, and that's the man, Kobe Bryant. And this is his book, The Mamba Mentality. I bought this book a couple of years ago when I was flying back from the States to South Africa, and I needed a book to read, and I bought this book, and it's just an incredible book about the mentality of Kobe Bryant. And this week it's exciting that he got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And I just wanted to share some ideas and concepts that I learned from studying this man's career and to see what were the ingredients that made him successful. Now, in the definition of insanity, Albert Einstein shares an interesting concept. He says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I want us to look at this definition from a different angle, because to be a champion on the level of Kobe Bryant, to achieve tremendous success in your field, whatever it is that you're in, there's a level of insanity you need. There's a level of insanity that is needed for mastery, because to be a master at anything, you actually have to do the same thing over and over again. That's how you become a master. And that's obviously been popularized by Malcolm Gladwell when he gave us the concept of the 10,000 hours rule. That in order to be a master in anything, you've got to put in the time. You've got to keep doing it over and over again until you become great at it. And I want to share scripture before we look at some ideas from Kobe Bryant's life. The first one is Proverbs 12:24, which says, "The hand of the diligent will rule. The hand of the diligent will rule, but the lazy man will be put into forced labor." So in order to be great, in order to rule, in order to dominate, you've got to be diligent. You've got to put in the time. You've got to put in the effort until you succeed. So the first thing I'll talk about Kobe Bryant in terms of his success is he had an insane work ethic. His work ethic was out of this world. And in order to be great in anything, you've got to have an incredible work ethic. You've got to make up your mind that I will outwork everybody in my field. I'm going to put in the time. I'm going to put in the effort in order to be great in what I'm doing. And Kobe Bryant would be the first one in the gym and the last one out of the gym. And in order to be great, you've got to be the first one in and the last one out. And even as a pastor, when I'm measuring commitment and I'm measuring trajectory of greatness, one of the things I do is I spot who's the first one in every Sunday, who's the first one in practice, who's the last one out, because those are signs of greatness, that this person is committed to be something great. And it's that insane work ethic which separated Kobe from everybody else. The next thing which separated him was an insane self-belief. You've got to believe in yourself. And that's one thing we struggle with as Africans sometimes, is that we don't believe in ourselves so much. And many times we are caught up in this thing where we worship celebrities, we worship people who have done things, and we lose sight of our own greatness. It's great to celebrate the greatness and success of others, but never do it at the expense of your own self-belief. I can celebrate you, I can celebrate your success, but you best know that I'm great too, and my season will come. The next great thing about Kobe Bryant was Kobe had an insane focus. He was someone who was extremely focused. During the playoffs, when the Lakers were in the playoffs, he would tell his wife and children that in these next 2 months, I'm literally locked into the playoffs. I've got no time for anything. For the next 2 months, you don't have a husband, you don't have a father. It's playoff time. I've got to be focused because I've got to win. And there's a level of focus you have to have. There's so many distractions in the world today. There's so many distractions online. There's so many. I mean, just look today. Just look this week online. There's so many things people want to debate. People want to debate Israel and Palestine. People want to debate South African vaccines. People want to debate who is the greatest. What's going on with English football? What's going on with the Super League? What's going on? There's so many things you can get caught up in, and you can lose sight of what it is that God has called you to do. And one of the things I want to encourage you is be insanely focused. Don't get caught up in every distraction. Don't get caught up in every argument. There's some people online, they seem to have the answers for every complex problem in the world, and they're always answering and debating everything under the sun. You've got to be someone, I'm just so focused on what God has called me to do. I'm so focused on being great. I'm so focused on excellence. I'm so focused on producing value and adding value to people's lives that I can't be distracted by everything that is happening around me. And the other characteristic of Kobe Bryant is Kobe had an insane competitive heart. He was extremely competitive. He would refuse to be number two. He always wanted to be the best. And in the context of the church, when it comes to competitiveness, it mustn't be in a realm of jealousy and in a realm of I'm trying to be better than anyone. The competitive drive, that is kingdom competitive drive, is competing with yourself and making sure that you want to be better and greater week in and week out. That you're somebody who wants to, you always want to improve. When you're competing with yourself, you're seeing week by week, am I better? Is this the best version of me that the world is getting? And that's what you're working on. The next thing with Kobe had an insane hatred of losing. Kobe didn't like losing. He wasn't happy with losing. He always believed that we've got to win. We've got to win. And it's a very interesting thing because sometimes as a human being, you're going to have wins, you're going to have losses. But with him, he always had a desire that I'm not going to sit back and quit. I'm not going to sit back and say, okay, this is the end of me. We've lost. It's always going to be like this. He would get up and say, one day we are going to win. One day we're going to win. And one day we're going to be great. The other thing with Kobe is he had an insane self-pressure. He would put a lot of pressure on himself to do great things. And it can be bad, it can be good. You got to manage it. But it's important also not to allow yourself to be sloppy. It's important not to say, I'm just going to take another nap. Oh, I'll start tomorrow. Oh, you've also got to put pressure on yourself. To be great, you got to have a certain level where no one around you puts the kind of pressure on you that you put on yourself. And Kobe used to put himself under pressure. He wouldn't wait for the media. He wouldn't wait for people around him. He'd take responsibility and put pressure on himself. And then the other thing with Kobe, and this is where the Mamba mentality kicks in, he had insane poise under pressure. When he was under pressure, what that means is when he was under pressure, he wouldn't panic. In the heat of competition, in the most where everybody's nervous, everybody's afraid, he's just there saying, we've got this, don't worry, the Mamba is here, Kobe is here, we're going to do this. And it's an intense gifting to be able to have poise under pressure. To have poise that, even though I'm under pressure, I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to do a social media outburst. I'm not going to act out of character. Under pressure, I am cool, calm, and collected under pressure. The other thing with Kobe is he had an insane self-discipline when it came to his gift. And he was somebody who would make sure that no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets in the gym, I'm going to push because I'm trying to be great. I'm chasing Jordan, I'm chasing Kareem, I'm chasing Magic, I'm chasing all the greats, Larry Bird. And he was intensely disciplined to be great. And then the other thing we can learn from Kobe is he had an insane diet. In other words, he was careful about what he would consume. And even you as a child of God, particularly right now, there's so much junk out there. In the media, just the political garbage that's in the media is shocking. You look at music, just all the garbage in the entertainment industry. You got to guard your spirit, guard your mind, make sure you're feeding your spirit the word of God. Make sure you're feeding your mind ideas that can take you to another level. And make sure you're also feeding your body healthy food. And then finally, the other thing with Kobe had a no excuses mentality. He had a mentality where he would take responsibility. And that's how winning is. Winners are not given to excuses. they deliver. They get things done. They consistently deliver, and they don't give excuses. If they don't deliver, they say, I'm going to get better until I deliver. I pray that God gives you the capacity to be a champion in your field, that you understand the price you have to pay, that greatness is not just this thing which God is just going to open heaven and give you, but it's actually something that you have to push. You have to push. You have to. Salvation is given. We are given salvation by God. We are saved by faith. But to achieve great things in this earth, if you want to be a great accountant, God's not opening heaven and making you a great accountant. There's work that comes with that. If you want to be great in business, it's not just going to be the heavens open and all of a sudden you're this tremendous business person. There's a lot of work involved. If you want to be great in ministry, you want to be great in music, whatever it is that you want to be great in, there's a price for it. Don't be afraid to pay the price, because the world needs the greatest version of who you are. And we're waiting for it. We can't wait to see it. And I believe we're going to see it. I pray that this message just encourages you, stirs you up, frustrates you, shakes you. If you're in that season where you're just lazy and you're just bumming around and not pushing, I pray that this provokes you to get up. If you're in that season also where you're feeling sorry for yourself and saying, life's not fair, everything is against me, stop it. You're a champion. There's so much greatness in you. Get up and become it. If you're in that season where you're blaming people, you feel like, no, this person has let me down and I wish my parents were a certain way, stop it. You are too gifted to have excuses. You are too gifted to have excuses. You've got to become everything that God has created you to become. You've got to pursue it. You've got to push yourself, and you've got to achieve it in this season. I pray that God blesses you. Let's be great.